Hi, it's Trevor from Plateau Astro, and I'm here in Parc La Fontaine, and I walk past this illustration all of the time. This was done by Michel Rabagliati in 2017 for Montreal's 375th anniversary. And in the illustration, it shows two people on top of Montréal overlooking downtown. And in the distance, in the east, you can see the sun rising. Each time I've walked past this, I've always wondered, what time of year is this supposedly taking place? I know it's not winter because there's no snow and they're not wearing winter clothes in here, but is it spring? Is it summer? Is it fall? When is this happening? And is there a way to find out? Yes, using that sun in the distance, we can find this out. If we can find where on the horizon it's rising between Place Ville-Marie and Mille de la Gauchetière, we can find out exactly which day this illustration is supposedly taking place. First, some of the basics. We often say that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and this is a good rule of thumb, but it doesn't rise exactly in the east and set exactly in the west every day. It slightly changes throughout the year. On the autumn equinox in September, the sun does rise exactly east, but after the equinox, it drifts and starts to rise more and more in the southeast until we reach the winter solstice in December. That's when it's at its most southeast and the days are their shortest. After the winter solstice, the sunrise drifts back towards the north until the spring equinox in March, when it rises again exactly east. Then it starts to rise more northeast until we reach the summer solstice in June. It rises at its most northeast and the days are their longest. Then through summer, it drifts back until September, rising exactly east again on the autumn equinox. So if we can find exactly where the sun is at a certain direction, we can find out what day that illustration in Parc La Fontaine takes place. But our directions north, east, and southeast are too broad. We got to get more specific. Instead, we're going to break those names into numbers, degrees on a compass. I've drawn a compass here. On a compass, we have north, we have east, we have south, and we have west. In a circle, we've got 360 degrees, we've got 0 up at the top, 90, 180, 270. We can overlay this, the 360 degrees on the circle, onto the compass, like this. So instead of saying north, we could say 0 degrees. Instead of saying east, we could say 90 degrees. Instead of south, we'd say 180. Instead of west, we'd say 270. We can get super specific with this. Instead of saying northeast, we can say 45 degrees, southeast, 135 degrees. And in between these, we can get hyper specific. So instead of telling somebody go a little bit north of northeast, you can tell them a number like 25 degrees. In aviation and other industries, this is called your heading or your bearing. Next, we're going to find out what exactly is the direction in degrees that the sun is rising. We can do this with a few different tools, and here I'm using Google Earth. First, I'm going to find the Belvedere Condillac, where the illustration takes place, and I'm going to position myself from the perspective of the illustration and zoom in a little bit. Inside of Google Earth, there is a measuring tool, and with this, I click and I move my mouse around and it updates the heading, the direction that I'm facing. So east, 90 degrees, is to the left of Place Ville-Marie, and in the illustration, it shows the sun between Place Ville-Marie and Mille de la Gauchetière. And lined up, the heading looks to be 105 degrees, so a little bit south of east. Now, what do we do with this 105 degrees number? There's a great dorky website that I use all the time called Timeanddatecom. And there's a section on the website which tells you the sunrise and sunset time for any location. And here we get a very detailed list of each day that the sun rises. We see the time, but we also see in parentheses here this number. And this is the degrees, the bearing that the sun rises. So if we can find the date that has the sun rising at 105 degrees, we've found which day the illustration takes place. So I'm going to start in January here, and I can see that it's in the 120s. And if I scroll down, this number keeps getting lower and lower and lower, closer to 105. And I keep on scrolling down. And at the end of the month, January 31st, the number is 114 degrees. So I'm gonna have to go to the next month. Let's go to February. And here again, we have our list of the sunrise times and the direction, the bearing. So it's at 114. And if I keep on scrolling down, finally at February 19th, there it is. At 6:49 a.m., the sun rises at 105 degrees. So in the middle of winter, in February, if you were to go up to Mont-Royal at sunrise at 6:49, this is where you would see the sun rising at 105 degrees. But clearly it's not winter in this illustration. There's no snow on the ground, the two people aren't wearing winter clothes. So did Michel Rabagliati get the sunrise wrong in this illustration? No. If you remember, the sunrise drifts back and forth northeast and southeast throughout the year. The sun rises in the same location 2 days of the year. Let's find the other day of the year that the sun rises at 105 degrees. So I went month by month, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Then in October, I finally found it. October 21st at 7:18 a.m., the sun rises at 105 degrees. And that makes way more sense. There's usually no snow on the ground in the middle of October. You could even recreate this illustration yourself. You just gotta do it on October 21st at 7:18 a.m. Now, you might be wondering, wouldn't the location of the sunrise differ year by year? Well, we've created our 365-day calendar based around the sun. And aside from some leap year magic we have to do every 4 years, the sun will rise in the same location every single year. So if you missed recreating this illustration on October 21st this year, you can do it again next year or any other year in the future. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. This is where your money is going. Your support helps me research and create quirky videos like this around Montreal. If you're not a supporter and you want to help create more videos like this, go to patreon.com/plateau_astro. There's some other fun perks for you there too. All right, thanks. See you soon.